Welcome to Changing Suits. We're your hosts, Val.
And Taj, discussing the latest news, views, and general life for us Western Asians.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, changing_suits, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Hi, welcome to Changing Suits. My name's Val.
And my name's Taj.
I've just realised this is our thing. Have you realised?
Yeah.
We always like, hi. Da, da, da. It's funny because I'm miserable just before this. Okay. Today's episode is about, can we help everyone all the time? Or any of the time? Now, the reason we've decided to do this subject is because we had a conversation about someone that you know that was talking about their problems. And it got us thinking, should we take on someone else's problems? Can we help them? What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think I need to start on with, can I take my own problems on? Forget about anyone else's.
But then do you think by helping someone else, you sort of help yourself because you forget your own problems in that case?
Do you know something? I know you're going to be like, oh God, here she goes on about age. But when I was
Oh
younger,
my God, here we go on about
when
age.
I was younger and I didn't have kids, I didn't mind listening to, not that I mind listening to people's problems and helping them and whatever, but now I'm in a point of my life where I'm like, okay, I'm listening to you, but I'm not emotionally investing in it now. I'm not taking it to heart. I'm not letting it affect my mental health because I can't afford to do that because I've got so many things going on in my own life. So I can't let it affect me like that.
But then do you
Would
think it did affect you like that before?
I think I let things get to me very like at a deep level, can I say? And I used to take it really personally, and it really did affect me to the core. And I think I've learned a strategy where I've had to almost block things out and say, okay, I need to park this up as soon as, like, if I'm outside and if I step inside, not that I'm stepping outside anywhere much because of this lovely COVID. When I step back into the house, that's it. It's about what's going on in the house as far as it can be, to be honest. Um, what about yourself? What do you feel?
I think, and I feel like in my younger days,
Hey, you're following my suit.
yeah, well, before, not my younger days, just before, like last year,
That's
um,
called you can't admit to being old.
whatever. I felt like I could help everybody and I'd take on everybody. And this is something you said the other day, actually. Don't take it on. I remember you said it a few days ago. I can't remember what it was about. But I feel like as life's gone on and there's certain things that have developed, whether it's other people's health problems, whether it's other people's emotional problems, relationship problems, I've realized that you just you could be the person to listen and try and advise, but you've got to I've sort of realized that what's going to happen in their lives is going to happen no matter what I do, no matter how hard I try or don't try. Life is life. It's going to happen the way it's going to happen
Do you
regardless of what
do you think it makes it easier when you start accepting things are meant to be the way they're meant to be? Or and for me, I think I'm answering the question of how I want you to say it. But for me, I've realized I get really stressed, and the reason why I get stressed is because I feel out of control. And now I'm at a point where I've realized I can't control, it's pretty much what you've just said. I can't control everything. And that's kind of made me feel a bit more less stressed about things and less worried about things because I've realized I can't control everything. I can't change what's going to happen. It's going to happen regardless of if I stress a lot or if I don't stress at all.
But then
It,
is that about your problems or someone else's problems? Because I've started this off of, can we help everyone else, not can you help yourself? So what are you talking about?
I think of both, the answers for both. I'll say this, and I am going to contradict myself. Obviously, you're going to stress, but it's about how much of the stress are you going to take off someone else's issues?
Well, I feel like for myself, I feel like I've sort of grown up a bit where I'm starting to stress about my life a lot. Whereas before I was pretty blasé about it. You know, something would happen, I'll be like, okay, whatever, someone will deal with it. Whereas now I'm finding that I tend to get really down and it's all about me in my head. And that really is, I'm finding it tough in that sense.
Do you think this can be to do with the whole? I know all of us are starting to hate the COVID word, but do you think that's starting to impact us more than we realized? Because we're at home, we're with the same people. All right, we are going out, but not like how we used to go out.
No, I mean, in my case, I don't think so. I think in other people's cases, only because I pretty much, for a long time through this pandemic, have been doing the same thing I was doing prior to it. Yes, you know, there are restrictions, but I mean, to be fair, I wasn't going out that much anyway. So, you know, it just added it was pretty normal for me. Not obviously the lockdowns were abnormal, but I can't say that COVID has done that. I feel like I think I'm starting to stress out about little things. And that's one reason, in fact, that I found it really important to start exercising. I mean, I started with yoga and I realized that was helping. And then I started exercising. Then I felt like I want to do a bit more exercise, a bit harder exercises. And that has helped. But again, I feel like, and this sounds like I'm having a coaching session, a bit of a therapy session myself, where I am in my own head, where one little thing is becoming a bigger thing. But the exercise has helped reduce that stress. But then on the opposite side, where I've, you know, my whole life I have, and I think you would say yes to this as well, I've tried to help others a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, I agree.
Um, like I said, I can give really good advice. I give very, very, very good advice, I have to say.
Not being big headed here, are we?
But that doesn't mean I take it myself. So that's where it's the reverse of I'm being big headed because I don't take it myself. But I did take on a lot of people's stress. I did try to help a lot of people. But
And
then
you
as
still
life,
do, to be honest.
but not to the same extent because I've realized that it doesn't matter how much I do, life is going to play out how it plays out. And that I've sort of held my hand up to saying, well, I can't help anyone. I can't, yeah, I can't.
Have you actually when you said that you can't help anyone and you've held your hand up, have you said to that person that's asking for that advice, I'm sorry, I can't help you? Or how have you done it?
No,
Is
I think it's changed from this is my advice to this is my opinion,
Yeah.
but your opinion is important and I'm not going through what you're going through. So I can only see it from my perspective, but you do what you need to do to get through what you're going through.
I think it's funny you should say that because I am pretty much on the same page as well. Whereas before I would have been do this, do this, do this. But now I'm like, okay, this is what I think, but I don't live your life. I don't know everything about it. You need to make the decision. So I'm giving you a piece of what I think, but it's up to you to make that final decision.
But the
Why
other
why do
but
you think that is? Because why has it changed
but
from
wait, sorry. I just want to say this. One thing when I did my coaching course
Mm,
that I found and it was a really practical course.
mm,
Giving advice is one thing and coaching is a different thing. Now, whilst I've been with coaching clients and I did the coaching course and went through that process, I realized that no one listens to advice. What they listen to
yeah.
is what they're saying. So if you help them by asking the right questions and they
Mm.
have the aha moment, that's what you're looking for. Not that I'm telling you to do this because they never heard you.
So that's really interesting. So you're saying basically we've got the answer, but we almost need to have a mirror in front of us to say, hey, this is the answer. I know it already, but I want you to regurgitate it back to me.
Exactly. Or not even regurgitate it. You need to hear it in your own voice. And that was a big eye opener because you could see, and I've seen it in clients that I've worked with as well. When you get that aha moment, that's what's going to cause the change in someone's life, not the fact that I'm telling them to do something. That never works. So, coaching someone is, in that case, different from advising someone.
So do you think counselling is good for someone then?
Well, you know that I'm going to say yes to that. I think we all need someone to talk to. But this is where, in last week's podcast, there was something that Mandad said, where she goes, a problem shared is a problem halved. And I know a lot of people say it, but when she said it, I was like, that's a really good point. And that's why she went on to do the things that she has on Instagram. And the same thing of, you're talking to a friend. Now, if I've had a problem in the past, like a lot of people, you tend to pick up the phone to someone that you're close to, whether it's friends, family. And because they're on your side, you can say what you need to say. And that person's about, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. And that's what you want to hear.
I completely agree with you, because there's someone that's like in my life at the moment. And basically, whatever I say, she'll say the opposite. And I find that so frustrating, because it's like, I'm
Is that
saying,
me? Are you talking about me?
no, I'm not.
Oh,
I'd tell you if I was talking about you. It's really irritating, because as human beings, we want to feel that we are right.
yeah.
So you want someone that is your cheerleader, not that
Mhm.
someone that's like, no, 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 what you're saying is wrong, or someone that sits on the fence. You want them to be on your side.
Damn right. And one of my friends actually did this. I was telling her something. She didn't agree with me, but she was like, yeah, yeah. And then a few weeks later, she goes, I didn't quite agree with you, but I'm still agree with your whole concept. And I was like, damn right you are. You're a friend of mine. You bloody well are going to agree to what I say.
Do you think that it makes a difference if, for example, someone from your family is sharing something from you, or a friend is sharing something from you, or just someone that you've met, like on the odd occasion, is sharing something from, with you, should I say, and asking for your advice? And do you emotionally invest into different things because there's different relationships?
Okay, so I found that friends and family now, I will pick up the phone if they're feeling down, or they've said something where I'm like, yeah, if that happened to me, I'd feel down. And I know because you're close to me, you probably feel down as well. I will pick
Yeah.
up the phone there and then and say, look, are you okay? Not give them advice, just, are you okay with what happened? And
Yeah.
obviously listen to what they need to say and be like, bloody hell, what an asshole, sort of thing. With someone that I don't know that well, I try to move back now. I used to be the kind of person that wanted to know everything about that problem and try and help. I can't do that. I
Yeah.
can't do that because I know that I can't help them.
I feel, in a sense, because I feel that I'm coming from the same direction as you, I feel it's about energy, and I can't invest that energy into someone that I can't help. And to a point, like yourself, I used to be, yeah, tell me, not because I was nosy, because I really do not get anything out of knowing someone's problem. I don't talk to anyone else about it. I wouldn't broadcast it on this podcast because that's their private thing. Um, it's just to help them. It's not, I don't do it to help. I don't think I do it to make myself feel better. But yeah, I would say, hey, what is it? And we'll go deep into the problem. But whereas now, like yourself, I'd be like, all right, okay, tell me what you want to. I'm not going to dig deeper into finding out what else you want to tell me. I'm
Mm,
just not going to do that, because I haven't got the energy to do that emotionally.
yeah. No, I think, one of the things that we had previously was, oh, you need differing opinions. And I think we do have quite differing opinions, but I completely agree. I think as you get older, there is only a certain amount of energy you have, and you need to put it in places that you want to place it in. And this is for personal relationships. This isn't for, whether it's coaching or things like that that are more professional. This is for personal relationships. That
So
energy,
So
go on.
you're saying that if you came across and you didn't feel that the same relationship, the same thing was invested from the other person, would you say cut ties? Would you cut ties yourself personally?
Well, it depends on what that relationship is. Like I said, if it's a personal relationship, then no, I won't cut ties. I'm not that horrible. If someone has opened up and said what they need to say, I would check in, make sure they're okay, because I'm not a horrible person. I don't think I am. Other people might well think I am. And yeah, they probably do. But I wouldn't get, which is why I have quite a small group of friends. I don't have tons of friends. And the ones that I do, I will phone them, not all the time, but when I do, it's a case of getting, when you talk to someone and you're like, yeah, I haven't actually missed that much time. We're downloading everything that's happened since the last conversation, and there's not that thing of, oh, bloody hell, you haven't phoned me in a year, sort of thing.
I do that to
kind of
you every
friendship.
day.
Well, yeah, but it's different because we talk every day.
Okay, so we're talking about that. Say if there is someone that, for example, you're investing a lot into the relationship and they aren't. This isn't about talking, this isn't about sharing their problems. They just aren't investing that much into the relationship as you are. It what would you do? Would you start backing off? Because uh, recently I've spoken to quite a lot of people where they've invested so much, helped out, I would say family, let's base it on family, helped out family or friends, and they've done it to the point of they'll do anything for them, and they haven't seen that investment back from the other side.
Oh,
What would
I've got quite strong opinions about this. Um, I think the most hurtful thing, and I've been there a lot,
mm,
but from my perspective, I've been there a lot. Whether it's the same from the other person's perspective, that's another thing, but I'm only talking from mine. Um, I, I'd want to see, I don't want anything specific, but I want the appreciation of, I get the fact that you were there. And many times where I now haven't seen that, I've now changed, I've grown, where I think, what is the point in, if that appreciation isn't there, then there was no point in the first place. And that's why, and I saw a quote a long time ago. I can't remember exactly what it is. I do this every time.
I was going to say, I'm just waiting for you to say I can't
But you're
remember.
going to get the gist, just like every time I quote previously, where it's not actually a quote, it's just a whole statement, where it basically says you should be more upset when someone has stopped caring
Mm,
than when they care a lot.
okay.
And I feel like a lot of my relationships, I am now at that point where if I didn't get that appreciation, or the person doesn't appreciate it now, I can't care anymore.
See, in quite a lot of Asian families, people are very close as in their relationships, they'll see each other a lot, but we find it hard to cut ties because we're always taught that it's important that you look out for each other no matter what, that you do everything for each other. Now, quite a lot of people that I've been speaking to, and I wouldn't have said this years ago, quite a lot of people that I've been speaking to that are going through the phase of, okay, they're not getting that investment back from the other person. I, to my own surprise, actually have said, right, I think it's time that you step away. You've done what you can. You've put the energy into that relationship. If you're not getting that same thing back from the other side, I think you should just step away and let it be and accept.
Accept, yeah, I agree.
Accept. I think one of the biggest things is that we've got this expectation from someone and we expect a certain amount of appreciation. And I think that's what lets us down and that's what causes the upset because you're expecting not a thank you, but some sort of appreciation that you've helped the person out, that you've been there. And because you're expecting that and you don't get that, that's what hurts. So my thing would be stop expecting and then you won't be let down.
I agree.
Don't
Yeah,
expect things from people.
but that's really hard.
It is
That is
hard.
very hard, only because of human nature, where you're like, if you've emotionally invested or you felt like you have,
Mm.
because I'm the kind of person, and this is something that's come up in my mind quite a lot today, actually, where I don't quite need, for my birthdays and stuff like that, I don't need gifts.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't need gifts throughout the year or anything. I don't care about that. I prefer the fact that you can have that connection with someone,
Mm.
and you know that if you needed them, they'd have your back, and vice versa. I don't need gifts.
Yeah.
And that's something that's come up quite a lot today, in fact.
Mm.
So I don't know. I think I agree. You shouldn't expect it, but when you feel like you want to, there should be a relationship there. You can't but not expect it, right? which is why I feel like if that's happened, and as you can tell, things like that have happened to me with a number of people, and people are going to be like, oh, who's she talking about? Which I'm not going to reveal. I think in that case you become hardened to it, and then what is the point of wasting your energy on extra effort of, in finding out about how their day was, finding out how their family and other people are? What's the point?
Yeah,
there was no point.
I agree. I'm going to completely turn this subject into something else, and I'm going to talk about social media, my favorite topic.
Yep.
And the reason why I'm going to talk about it is because I'm starting to get irritated of these certain posts. And the posts are about share this, right? I think mental health is really important, but share this with 10 friends so they know that you will be there for them. Now, the mental health side of it, I'm not annoyed with, because I think it's really important that we all support each other. What I find irritating is you can share that on social media. You can make it out there that I'm helping, I'm here to help. I think there was this whole thing about I'm here to have a cup of coffee with you. I don't think it's about actions. I don't think it's about showing the world the pretense. So
Yeah,
if
but
you,
then those 10 people that have sent it to you, go back to them and go get that cup of coffee. See if they go.
but I don't think, when I'm not saying this for everyone, but I think a lot of this is just because I want to be seen in a certain way that we send these messages out, share it with 10 people. If you are really open for that cup of tea, then be open. Why do you need to put it on social media?
Yeah, but this is the thing with social media. It's like when it's someone's birthday, it's your husband's birthday. Oh, happy birthday to whoever it is. It's like, well, I'm pretty sure you would have seen them a lot sooner than I did. So
Yeah.
it's just to say, hey, I'm putting it out there. But then that's what social media is, right? It's not about what you're truly feeling. It's, hey, I'm telling the world something.
So yeah, because I remember there was this one particular woman, I won't name who it was, and she
What
goes,
a bitch. No, joking.
she was talking about how one of her friends basically committed suicide.
Oh dear. Okay, I'm going to edit that bit out. I said that.
No, and it's a very serious topic, obviously, and one that we will be talking about in another podcast. And the thing was, she was saying, "Oh, if only I had known." I'm not blaming this Fred for not knowing, but the thing is, do we actually spend enough time observing and respecting the people around us to understand what their situations are? I'm not blaming anyone for anything that's happened in anyone's life, or if they've committed suicide. No way would I do that, because that is just not fair. But I'm saying, do we spend enough time seeing if someone is down? And if you don't, is it our fault that we don't? Because we've just talked about not having the energy to spend that time with someone. Again, there was another post, and someone said, "Oh, I'm out there. Oh, everyone should help and support each other." And I wrote a reply to that. I wrote, "To be honest, I haven't got the energy to help anyone else." And sometimes there's nothing wrong with saying, "I'm not in a like my state of mental health. I'm not in that position to help someone else, because I'm just about surviving, helping myself."
It's really okay on that point. I know you're going to carry on, but I just want to interject there, because one thing that I found during the podcast of, in fact, both the last two guests that have come on, is a statement that came out was, it's like being on an airplane. I'm going to repeat it again. You've got to put your oxygen mask on before you can help someone else.
Yeah.
And I do think it's important to help others. There's different types of levels of happiness. And one of the most meaningful types of happiness is where you do help someone else. People that do charity work, there's a certain, I know this sounds really, it's going to sound really cheesy, and I don't mean it to feel cheesy, but this was something I was saying to someone the other day. It's different. If you were to buy a present for yourself, you'd be happy for a few seconds. That help that you provided someone else, that lasts longer. It's a different type of happiness. Your brain sees it as a different type of happiness.
So basically, that goes on to the question for me: is there anything such a thing as altruistic behavior? Can we truly do something to help someone purely because you're helping someone and that you get nothing out of it?
This reminds me of a Friends episode.
Yeah,
Do you remember this? Where it's
no.
like, no, every deed, whatever you do, is there to always to make you feel better. I think that you can do something genuinely to help. I know I said about the appreciation, that was more, you want to feel like that person understood that you were there, and hopefully they will understand. No, I don't know, that sounds really weird, but they got it. But I think there is that point where if you help someone, that you're not doing it for yourself. You genuinely want them to get out of the situation better than the way where they are.
But this
Not for
comes,
yourself, for them.
yeah, but then once you've helped them, you get that happiness inside. So that behavior isn't completely 100% altruistic, is it? Because you're getting something from it as well.
Well,
So
it's better
can
than
we?
feeling crappy about, stealing money off someone. I'd prefer to be happy that I've helped someone. Yeah, sure.
My question is, can we truly do something just to,
Selfless.
yeah, selfless?
Well, you don't have to show the world. It's like giving money to charity. Some people want to remain anonymous for that. But to yourself, you're like, yeah, I've done something good. You don't
Yeah.
have to tell others. I don't know. It's a bit of a tough one because I think there's always going to be that feeling of, I suppose, happiness that you've helped, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. You've helped someone and you're happy yourself. What's wrong with that? So
Nothing.
what?
Nothing.
That's the best. That's the best position to be in, right?
Agreed. I just wanted to push the buttons and see what you said.
I think I passed that one. I'll listen back to this. Okay.
So one thing I was going to say, as again being Asian, and quite a lot of things that we do are our parents bring us up to be part of a family. And one of the things, again, that was mentioned in our previous podcast is we feel that we owe our parents to look after them. Now, just exploring that a bit deeper, do you think that we should be there to look after them?
I think during that conversation, the realization was from everyone that was on that podcast was, yes, you should, but first you have to help yourself mentally, and then you can be in the place. That's what I felt like came out of that conversation, and then you can be in the place to help someone else. And I agree with that, because I think, going back to what you said, everyone's only got a certain amount of energy. If you use it to help others, have you got enough energy for yourself? And if you haven't, then you're going to end up in a bad place as well. And that's with anyone, whether it's your parents or whoever you're trying to help. But yeah, I think it's important to help.
So, for example, say you didn't feel that you had that energy, how would you feel if we decided, for example, I'm not meaning this to our parents, but if we decided to put them in a care home when they got older?
That's a tough one, isn't it? Because
I know, that's why I asked it.
I think I don't. Yeah, that's a tough one, because I don't think I could do that, only because of the way we've been brought up. But then others have got a different reply to that, and there's nothing wrong if the reply is, yes, I would put them in a care home because I feel like they'd provide. I couldn't, but hey, I've never been through that where that has ever had to happen, and I've seen how great care homes are. And I don't know, that's a tough one. What do you think? I'll copy you.
I think with quite a lot of situations, even when you're giving advice to someone, quite a lot of the situations, if you haven't been through that situation, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have an opinion about it, but you shouldn't judge someone else for doing a certain thing.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, of course it is.
I'll steal your opinion.
Because, before I would have been like, no, 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 you shouldn't put them in a care home, blah, 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 blah. But we don't know the whole dynamics of why that had to happen.
Yeah.
And what the moving parts and elements of that is. So for us to make a blanket statement, no, you shouldn't put your family in a care home, Again, been brought up to not do that, but say it had to happen, I don't think we would. I think it would be wrong for us to judge someone else that had to do it.
So why'd you ask the question then?
Because I wanted to
You're
see
tr-
because I wanted to see what you said, and I wanted the listeners to hate you.
Wow. Lucky I said, oh, I don't know. What are you thinking? But then, do you know what? I think that comes again as you grow and you realize that this is why I think it's really important that whoever you are, you don't have a narrow vision of this is my set ways and I am not going to change, because life's adaptable, things change, situations change, the world changes. If you don't change with it, then you're just a mess. You have to, it's like, something we discussed in our divorce podcast. Had this been a few years ago, I'd been, no, regardless of whatever the situation is, if you've got kids, you stay together. Whereas now I'm not of that opinion. If the situation arises and you're going through a crap time and the situation isn't good for the kids, why would you not just separate if it's a better thing for the family? Not that I'm saying that is the best solution, but it shouldn't be ruled out either.
See, this is like I've said previous as well. This is such a big change for you because you were like, no, 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 doesn't matter. You stick at it. But it just shows that as life goes on, your opinions change as well.
You have to. You learn. You adapt. You have to. Darwin's theory.
Survival of the fittest.
We evolve. That was the one I was going to. Yeah, survival of the fittest. Yeah, I suppose that was the same
that's
theory.
the only one that I could remember, to be honest.
No, but it's all part of the same theory, I guess. Unless we've got an evolutionarist. I don't know if that's a word, but anyway, you get my point. Yeah, it's a tough one. I think you have to go through it, and right now I'd be like, no, I couldn't do it, but who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Who knows where I am? But then, do you think then, with the fact that we have that more open opinion, we have then gone from going back to, are we more Eastern or Western, or where does the Asian element come into it? Do you think we are more Westernizing because we are leaving the door open now, rather than saying, no, I don't agree with divorce, I don't agree with putting our parents in a care home if they needed it, or anyone that we're close to? Do you think we're Westernizing?
See, this is something that I was thinking about this morning. Are we more Westernized? But the thing is there anything wrong with that? We've all been brought up in different countries, or at some in India or whatever, but everyone's just moving here and there, and everyone's changing and evolving. Is there anything wrong with that? And can we label it Westernized thinking? Because there were some things that, that we done, for example, that were done in the Western world, but they've moved on. So,
also we're sort of narrowing it, saying that the people from the Eastern world are stuck in their ways. There's not, and that's also something wrong of the fact that we've even put that question out there, I guess, now thinking about it, because then we're saying, no, they're rigid. They're not. They're people. They've got they're learning.
Or should we say we're not?
We're not. Sorry, that's a bit. Yeah.
They're them. Oh, them. Actually, it's us.
No, I meant. Yeah, fair enough. Damn it! I look like a racist now. But yeah, no, I think it is a tough one in that. So let's finish off here, because I think this is a nice point to finish. I think from my perspective, and just listening to the conversation we've had today, and I've always say every podcast I learn something new, and I've thought about something a bit deeper, and I really have this time. I know it's been a bit of a serious one, but something that's come up for the last few podcasts is you have to look after yourself first, and not in a selfish way. Yes, the pandemic has brought that around and made us realize this. Do we have enough energy to help others? But if we don't, and we haven't looked after ourselves, then no, you haven't done that. And that's where the world is really hurting at the moment. But then, your friends, family, and others, they are there. They need help as well. I need someone to talk to. You need someone to talk to. So it is important to listen to those people. But I always feel like fate is fate. What's going to happen? However the cards are dealt and dropped, that is, unfortunately or fortunately, how life is going to play out. Fortunately, not unfortunately. This should be a positive ending. So, on that point, help yourself, help others, and live a good and happy life. And on that point, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, changing_suits, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.